suitable for this Dhamma discussion. So make yourselves create the environment around you a peaceful one, and where there is less disturbances, and relax your mind. And with that relaxed mind, maybe taking few deep breaths would help. After relaxing the mind, forgetting about all the hectic things that you had to do during the day, now it's time for Dhamma discussion. And as said in Mahamangala Sutta, Pubbeta Kata Punyata. So before starting an important task, if someone can create some meritorious power by doing a meritorious deed, that is, that important action or important thing that we are going to do would be greatly benefited from that meritorious mindset. So, recalling on meritorious deeds that we have done throughout this lifetime, during this whole samsaric journey, and rejoicing on those past meritorious deeds would help us to create delighted mindset that would help the Dhamma discussion. So let us think about alms givings, respecting noble Aryas, and helping them, listening to Dhamma, and passing this message of Dhamma to others. All of these meritorious deeds count, and rejoice on them, thinking that we have generated a very rare opportunity. We have created a very rare opportunity, generating immeasurable amounts of merits. And with those meritorious power, may everyone get the perfect background to listen to Dhamma with full samadhi, developing great panya. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And at the same time, we are now focusing on the negative things that we have done. Not to repent on them, not to be sad about our past actions, but to acknowledge our faults and correct them so that our future actions would be pure and pleasant. So let us acknowledge our faults, especially that were done towards Arya individuals, especially that were done towards noble Aryas, and anybody in the universe, any sentient being in the universe. And let us understand our faults and correct our faults by wishing not to do them again, by taking effort not to do them again. With that effort in mind, let us seek forgiveness in front of Supreme Buddhas with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So there were a few questions that were sent to the WhatsApp group. I'll go through them. First, there was a question about a sutta, and that sutta is maybe the one who sent that question is not here yet. So we'll go with the second question, and then after some time, if they join, then we can go to that question. So the second question that was sent was this one. What is the difference between sanya of an ordinary person and sanya of an arihat? For example, if we bring a rose with a pleasant fragrance and a beautiful color, how will the arihant perceive it? Does he feel the beauty and pleasantness of the rose? If we bring something that is not beautiful or smells bad, such as rotten things, how will the arihat perceive it? Would he perceive the unpleasantness of it? In the above example, how does arihat avoid attachment to the object? Please explain more about sanya. Thank you for taking the time. Okay. So I think everybody heard the question. So we'll go and we'll try to understand this. Now, one thing about an arihat and talking about the experience of an arihat is we never know the exact way how an arihat would feel, because we are not an arihat yet. So the pathway is there. It's like something like this. So we are here. Let's say you are in your hometown and you want to go to the capital city of your country. So still you have never been to the capital city before, but you have heard about the capital city, and you already know the road as well. You know how to go there, but you have never gone before. So we imagine about our capital city now. It would be very busy. There would be a lot of buildings, and there will be a lot of noise pollution. There would be a lot of people on the road. So this is what we imagine. And when we go there and see it for real, then only we would be able to understand what it is like. But we can have an idea. That is some assumptions, not just assumptions based on no root or without a base, but these are assumptions based on Dhamma, understanding or wisdom. So these assumptions are not that wrong from the truth, but it is we have to remember that it is not the ultimate, maybe not the ultimate way or the real way he would feel. But we can analyze the mechanism and predict that this might be the way he would feel. So only way to actually experience it is to become an arihat and experience it. So this is why when a arihat is asked about these types of questions, what would you feel? He usually explains the pathway. Okay, if you want to experience what I experience, then follow this pathway and you would experience exactly what I experience. So that is the easiest way. It is like asking oh asking someone about the taste of salt without tasting it. So we can ask from a person we have never tasted salt before, and we are asking a person who have tasted salt about the taste of salt. He might say things. He might say that it is something like maybe like citrusy, but not citrusy. Various things, various examples would be taken into the picture, and but it is very easy for that person to give a pinch of salt to the other person and say, now try tasting it. Then he tastes it, and then he understands what salt is like. Now that is the correct way of tasting or understanding what salt is like, by experiencing it. So the same rule applies for this as well. But we'll try to understand what from a point of wisdom or with the understanding we already have, with the panya we already have, we'll try to understand what it would be like if this question was asked and an answer was needed. So, if you have heard this Pali stanza, Yan loke piyarupan satarupan, ete sa tanha upajamana upachati, eta nivisamana nivisati. So the thing is, young loke means there are like chakung loke, rupang loke, saddang loke, sotang loke, ganang loke, ganda loke, then juha loke, jivha loke, rasa loke, kaya loke, pottabba loke, mana loke, dhamma loke. So there are 12 worlds. Loke mean worlds, various worlds. So if we enter the world of sound, there are various types of sound patterns, sounds, and everything. So if we enter the world of images, it is a different world. So each and every person's world is relative to that person. Let's say there's a blind person. Now he doesn't have that world of images. It is not a part of his life. He experienced the world through sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. No images. I have not seen any image because the eyes are not working. If the two eyes are also gone, ears are also gone, that person perception about the world is from smell, taste, and touch, and of course thoughts. If the touch is also gone, and the smell is also gone, taste is also gone, it is just thoughts. Just like in locked-in syndrome, where the person is locked inside. Maybe they can feel the external touch, but the person is restricted to thinking without being able to move a muscle. So in instances like this, and from the instances like this, we can understand that this world is what we experience from the external or internal organs while getting associated with the external organs. So when we try to analyze the sanya are, we can simply say recognition. So people recognize things. Even arihats recognize things. Otherwise, he would not be able to function. But arihat recognition and the recognition of others who are not arihats are different. Yan loke pierupang satarupang. Chakung loke pierupang satarupang. Rupang loke images it is for Chakung loke and Rupang loke, where the Chakku is eye and the Rupa is images. So those two for those two words, there are Priya Rupa and Sata Rupa. There are pleasant Rupa, and Sata means also something close to pleasant. So we can say pleasant Rupa are there. In those places where the pleasantness is, the attachment occurs for the normal individual. But for an Arihat, the attachment doesn't occur because of the wise conclusion he has arrived. What is the wise conclusion? Yes, this food is tasty, then a rotten one. That is why he doesn't. If he was given two plates of rice, one is rotten and one is good, fresh, he would not say that he would not go for the rotten one if he was given a choice, because rotten one is not experienced as pleasant, and the fresh one is experienced as pleasant. But he's not attached to it as well. It is a wise decision that he makes at that point. So when a fresh plate of rice was given, that is seen as anicca dukkha anatta from without even effort, because that is what he has practiced and completed. Arihat has completed his journey. So original way of seeing is through anicca dukkha anatta nature. So the value for that is given for this pleasant plate of rice, a fresh plate of rice, and the rotten plate of rice, both is the same value wise. It's the same, but one is pleasant and one is not pleasant. So the decision would be to take the good one. But the thing is, yayang tanha pono bhavika nandi raga sahagata tatra abhinandi. So yayang tanha pono bhavika. So we are looking for that pleasure again and again. That is what makes the problem. So it is not that we got a very nice bee's honey and we tasted this honey and that is it. We and the of course the taste of honey feels sweet, and when the taste of honey is given to the even to an arihat, it is tasted or it is experienced as sweet. And if a bitter some medicine was given to even to an arihat, it is experienced as bitter. That doesn't change for an arihat. For us also it is experienced as bitter. But difference between a normal person and an arihat is a normal person would want to experience that bee's honey or the sweet honey again and again. In other words, he wants to have that vexation to experience honey, because if that means we have to create a body with a tongue to experience honey again and again. So we are actually indirectly liking the continuation of samsara when we say, because we have to live to experience honey, sweet honey. So when we say we like to experience this honey again, or that thought comes in our mind, that is because of avijja. So because of that, we have to now live longer, maybe even for another second, another another minute, another hour, another life. So creating another body and a mind with, of course, a body with a tongue, so that we can taste honey, because that craving, that attachment is there. But for an arihat, he also tastes honey, but no, of course it's felt as sweet, but no intention of experiencing it again. So because the value is zero, okay, it's taste, okay, that's fine. We know he know the dukkham bayattena as a fact. It is inside, or it is coded within into his system. That is, the world is dukkham bayattena. Dukkha characteristic is there. So everything is of dukkha characteristic. Of course, it is felt as nice, but it is of dukkha characteristic, so we should be scared. And that is encoded into his, let's say, DNA. So if it is encoded into himself, then he acts on what he understands. So he would feel the sweetness, but never get that thought to experience it again and again, or to get attached. So the what is removed from an arihat is the tanha, or the attachment, because what arihat fulfills is dukkhe jnanam, dukkha samudaya jnanam, dukkha nirodhe jnanam, and dukkha nirodha gamini patipadaya jnana. So dukkha samudaya jnanam, when one understands that or when one develops the dukkha samudaya jnana, or the wisdom of dukkha samudaya, he understands about the reason or the attachment. And what he does is eliminating that reason or the attachment. So the attachment is gone. That is the only difference. What we feel, how we feel doesn't change. But the thing is, we have already discussed about paticca. So when there's avijja, it creates this vexatious body and mind which can alter the sensation as well. So what we felt as sweet is seen now like 1,000 times more when it is seen with a view of avijja, when it is experienced with a view of avijja. So we felt the taste of sweet taste of honey, but it was like 5 or 6 fold more because our body was vexatious to receive the taste of honey. So this vexatious bodily system is called salayatana, and the passa and vedana that is experienced to salayatana is now altered, and this altered sensation, of course, deceives us to believe in what we started. We are deceived by the system of paticca samuppada to believe in what we thought, or with, of course, with avijja. So that is a different story. So in that sense, what we experience and what Arihat experience is different. But the sweetness doesn't go away because it is a characteristic of honey. Honey is sweet in nature. It is the natural way of honey. So when it is tasted, we would feel blissful or happy. Not happy, actually, we can say sweet. An Arihat would feel sweetness. And this sweetness would not make him to want honey again and again. Because when somebody wants honey again and again, in this instance, an Arihat, if he wants honey again and again, he is not an Arihat because he actually indirectly saying that he wants to live, he wants to survive, he wants to have a tongue even for a second, even for another minute, even for another life. So with tongue comes the body and the mind. So now whole existence is grasped, or whole existence is seen as good. So this is what is gone in an Arihat. This is what we should also eliminate. It is not the sweetness of honey. It is the wrong ideology that the worldly Piya Rupang and Sata Rupang, the pleasant things, the good things, the blissful, the things that are seen as blissful are actually are full of value, full of essence, full of bliss, and full of and can be controlled according to expectation. No, in other words, Nitya Sukha Atta Subha, which is coming, or which is these objects are covered or sugar coated with Nitya Sukha Atta Subha. Then only that person wants to experience it again and again. And that creates the suffering samsaric cycle, a, a, a never-ending cycle. So to end this never-ending cycle, what we should do is should understand that yes, it is pleasant, but the pleasantness is the trap. It is like, we have discussed this, I think, before. A hook is put into the water by a fisherman and this fishing hook is put with some kind of a small um, worm or something attached to the end of the hook. So this worm is the problem because it is felt as pleasant for the fish. That's why he get trapped in the fishing hook. So since the Arihat knows this and completed his pathway, he doesn't feel that way. Even worm is felt as a worm. Of course, If it was a if the if we are using the same example, if the fish was with higher wisdom, again the fish without the wisdom and with the wisdom, if we try to compare and contrast, the the one with the wisdom also would feel the worm as a worm. He would see the shape of the worm. He would, when if it eats the worm, it would feel the taste of the worm. But the difference is when the one without the wisdom is doing that, he also would feel the same. But since there's avijja pacha sankara would happen. Sankara pacha vijnanam would happen. That mindset who likes to eat worms would come. So that is like wanting to live more to eat worms. So that would create an imbalance mind and a body mind system. So the chakku sota gana jivha kaya mana, or the salayatana, would be imbalanced, and that imbalanced salayatana would get a different altered taste, and that altered with that altered taste, the animal or the fish would decide, yes, this is blissful, I want to have this again and again. There is attachment and upadana, tanha and upadana, and that would lead to a jati, and at the end a, a worm eating jati, which is a blissful jati, which is a valuable jati, and that animal would want to continue having that jati, or would want to have that jati forever, but it ends up in jara marana, leading to disappointment, or in other words, soka parideva dukkha domana supayas. So that is the problem. So this paticca is what is lost in our in an arihat. So we have to we have to analyze this very carefully. It is not that arihat doesn't feel anything. He doesn't feel. For example, there are good examples in the Pali canon as well. Once Panchasika, a god of who is the actually one of the gods who can use the, why there's this instrument like a violin but not a violin. I don't know the English name for it, but he plays this instrument very well, and he comes and sing a gatha in front of Supreme Buddha about some Dhamma point as well as something about a goddess as well. So with a combination of both. So after listening to the this music by the god with the use of this instrument, Supreme Buddha says it is pleasant, nice, and everything was just perfect. The sound of the instrument and the sound of the voice was very matching, and he appreciated the thing. So if, and he's of course or the he's the enlightened one. So he also can distinguish what is um beautiful or pleasant when it comes to music, and what is not pleasant. If that distinguish or cannot be made by an arhat, then he would have no data on, okay, what is beautiful and what is not beautiful. He can choose. He can understand that. It is not that they cannot. You know what is pleasant music. You know what are the pleasant images in the world and unpleasant images in the world. Maybe a image of a person murdered on the street would be an unpleasant image, and a image of a statue of Supreme Buddha would be a pleasant image. But he would never want to live even another second to get associated or to see this image again and again, because that is coming out with our avijja mindset. So even for an anagami who have dhamma raga, who likes to get associated with statues of Buddha, temples, bhikkhus, and other aryas. So they also like to live for Dhamma. That's why a Suddhavasa is being created, because of their Sankara. So that is their level of avijja. So they have this avijja, and for the level of avijja they have, so the attachment for Dhamma, that is avijja paccaya sankara. Finally, the Vedana is Dhamma, Vedana that is created with Dhamma, and the attachment happens, and and the upadana happens, the wanting to experience this Dhamma and Kalyana Mittas again and again, and that is not a bad thing for us. But at the level of Anagami, that is the defilement they have. It is like, now I have to get out of the boat because I have crossed the river. Without leaving the boat, I have not achieved my salvation yet. So the final brick of the house, brick of the wall needs, that is also needs to be that also needs to be completed for the final end result. So in that also they also feel, even after that, even after becoming Arihat, that statue at the pleasant sight of Supreme Buddha, pleasant experience or pleasant meeting of another colleague bhikkhus would be seen as pleasant than meeting a butcher or a person who is very, very, um, he's not virtuous, a person who is sinful. Meeting that type of a person would be seen as bad experience. And meeting a good individual or a noble meeting of noble individuals would be seen as pleasant, and that the other one as unpleasant. But the thing is, he would not get attached to the pleasant one and would not reject the as a result, since they have no preference on each. uh, we can say, no, other than the word preference, we can say no expectation on both. So no, he doesn't expect this to go that way because it is of anicca nature. So when he get the chance, he would get out of the uh, maybe he would get out of that um, association with a sinful person, because it is not, it is like sitting on a chair with lot of thorns. So if we sit on a very harsh chair, or maybe on a, let's say we step on a sharp pin. So even a Arihat steps on a sharp pin, he would get his leg out of that place because now it's hurting. Just like that, an Arihat, a normal, um, if he meets a sinful person and that meeting was not pleasant, when he get the chance, he would get out of that place. But he would not become that person who creates a suffering experience out of that. Suffering experience comes with expectation, and suffering experience comes with avijja, valuing something and not getting that, because there's nothing. He knows the cause and effect nature. He knows this is the reality of the world. So that is what would be experienced without problem. But when the chance arrives, you would get away from that as well, because all the arihats and all the sentient beings, they were looking for bliss, not suffering. So if suffering is there, everyone would try to get out of that suffering. That is the nature of this system. So as I said earlier, I have to emphasize this again. When we try to understand what arihats' minds are, what we tell, depending on what we understand, might not be the 100% correct answer. Because if we know the correct answer, then we know what to do, and what we are missing and what we should have done. If we have completed the pathway, then again, that kind of Arihat would never try to explain what he feels, because we don't have any data to understand that. It is like trying to tell what salt is like to a person who has never tasted salt. So we are trying to do that actually, but might not be the most correct experience and how exactly he feels. So that is why the pathway is given. That is why to the path is given from the start to the end. So if we follow the path, we complete the journey, we would exactly know what he feels. No, so we are not, we don't, it is not like we are, it is not that we are not having option. We have an option, and that option is to complete the pathway and understand that. So again, to the sanya. So the difference of sanya in Aryas are, they also get the pleasant sanyas, unpleasant sanyas for all the things. But the thing is, yes, we have discussed this earlier as well. So for images, it is the upekka. For sounds, it is the upekka. For smells, taste, upekka. But for the touch, it is dukkha, upekka, and sukha. So that is right. That is about the touch. Because even if we see a pleasant image or an unpleasant image, it doesn't change the harshness or the fineness of touch. It is just, let's say like this. Images are dots of colors. Color dots are what we get into our mind, or that is how we read this external world, as dots of colors. So even if it is, let's say it was a bad, unpleasant picture, and there was a very pleasant picture as well. So if we look at both of them, if we watch them both, the dots coming from the color dots that are there in the unpleasant image as well as the pleasant image, if we divide it into dots, there's no difference. So in that sense, dots are um, seen as neutral, upekha. It's the same for sounds. Sounds are vibrations. Even that is an unpleasant vibration or a pleasant vibration, or the we are telling pleasant or unpleasant not for a moment, but for the whole thing. So to scold someone, we use letters, but let's say in the when we divide it into letters, even if I was praised, even if I was scolded, if the same letters were used, individual letters have a neutral nature. So what we get through the eye, so the collision of eye and the image, ear and the sound, they are always neutral in nature. That is why we say eyes and images, that the interaction is neutral, upekha. For the sound also, it's the interaction is upekha. For the taste also, it is the taste, or the smell, it is just minute fractions. So upekha again. But for the touch, it's different, because even a minute touch, which is harsh touch, let's say a pin, we were pricked with a pin. Even a minute fraction of that touch is not seen as blissful, but that even that minute touch is felt as dukkha. And if that something soft is touching our hand, then that, even if we divide into a very small fraction, that fraction is also having a blissful nature. That is why, and if it is neutral, it is neutral. That is why for touch, there are blissful touch, neutral touch, and suffering touch. But for all the others, it is upekka, because it is dots of colors fractions of vibrations. For smell, it is just particles, and for taste also, it is particles coming. So the combination. So if we go for taste, it is just salt, pepper, and other things that we put as seasoning and the main ingredient. So when everything is integrated together, only we get the taste. Otherwise, the taste of touch, taste of salt individually, when we take it, the taste of pepper, when we take it individually, we would of course taste the get the taste of pepper, but nothing to feel as blissful because the integration of everything, the combination of everything is seen as blissful or unpleasant. If the ratio is not correct, then we see it as unpleasant. If the ratio is perfect, then we see it as pleasant or delicious. It's the same. They have red color, green color, blue color, dots. Not seen as pleasant. It's just dots, it's just data. But the integration of everything into various shapes and colors and various nice um, things would create a sense of pleasant or unpleasant. So that comes after. So that is there in the nature, that is there in the world. The pleasantness and unpleasantness is common to all the worldly things. And because of the pleasantness only, these worldly beings get deceived and get attached and continue having a sansaric journey. It is because of the unpleasant nature which comes along with the pleasant one. It is like the two sides of a coin. If we get one side, the other side is coming as a bonus. So, since there's the unpleasant side, the worldly beings start to find a way to get out of the sansaric journey and find Nibbana. So, there's both. So, what Arihats understand is they understand that this pleasant nature is the problem. Getting attached to the present nature is the problem. That is the dukkha samudaya. And what should be eradicated is that. And the magga or the Arya magga is the pathway to achieve that. So completing that pathway would get him into a state where he also would see that yes, these are pleasant things, but there's no value in that. So that would be the conclusion in there. Pleasant would be seen as pleasant. But the thing is, this is very tricky when it comes to say some things are seen as pleasant because of the deterioration of the mind. Because of the distortion. Sorry, the word is distortion. Distortion of the mind with avijja. For example, let's say a person who, let's say, the child is seen as pleasant, and that has a distorted aspect as well. So it is distorted with. So this is why the business of sanya or the understanding of sanya and everything is becomes very tricky, because sanya, it is, we can put it very simply like this. If the sanya is not associated with nitya sukha atta subha idea or wrapped around, oh, so we get this chair. Now that is the recognition or the sanya. We know that it is a chair and the chair sanya is coming. But if the chair sanya is coded with nitya sukha atta subha or avijja, if it is coded with avijja, then that is wrong sanya. That is distorted sanya. Again, the child is seen as a child. The Arihat would know that this is my child in my lay life, and I know his name, I know his past things, everything. I know him, but I but his sanya about the child is not quoted with nitya sukha subha mindset. So he would not see this extra pleasantness in the child, because that extra pleasant nature comes with avijja. because the avijja patisampada creates this vexatious salayatana, and the experience would be very distorted and blissful. Thus, the sanya is modified, or it is updated, or it is changed into something. It is not. It is. Or it is changed into something. It is not. It is now. It is distorted and wrong sanya is coming now for the lay person. But for an arihat, since the avidya patisampada is eradicated and not occurring in him, he would see the child as the child. So whatever the original pleasant nature which was there would come. So this is the child. So this is Rahula. My Supreme Buddha would see Rahula Thero, his child in his lay life, as his child, and would do the necessary things for him to attain Nibbana. And the distorted sense of happiness or distorted sense of recognition would not come, because he knows, he fully understands that living to experience this external object would create the samsaric journey, and that is understood and digested and now in the core of the mind and the body. So it is just encoded to him. So it doesn't have to think in that way to get that reaction. It is already there. So it is very different. We might not be able to understand it fully, otherwise we would be arihats anyway. So the sanya, what we need to understand is what we need to do. We need to understand the things we need to do to go there, to get there. So what we need to do is we have to understand that whether our sanya, so sanya viparita, distorted sanyas, whether we are having distorted sanyas, whether we the external objects are seen as nicha sukata subha. If that is happening, then that is a distorted sanya. And we need to use our vipassana, we need to use our panya to contemplate on these objects and to separate the Nicha Sukata Subha from the original recognition, or from the original Sanya, and to see the Sanya as it is, the original one, getting out of the distorted version. So when doing this for all the Sanyas we have encountered and all the distorted Sanyas we have created, then that would create the Anagami state, or Chitta Viparita, if that is also gone, Arihat state. So it would end up making us an Arihat or an Anaga. So this is what we need to understand. I hope I discussed all the points that need to be discussed and was mentioned in the question. Wait, I'll read it again and see. So the fragrance of a rose would be seen as, oh, he would recognize the fragrance of a rose, and it was seen maybe as pleasant, depending on the karma vipaka, because this pleasantness and unpleasantness comes with karma vipaka, the consequences of past karma. So even for an arihat, if he has done good things with the eye or bad things with the eye in the past lives, of course, if the bad things have been done, he would meet, or he would the environment for, or the external environment would be to encounter bad images. If he has done good things with the eye, good karma was created with the eye, of course the encounter would be of good things with the eye. And that is just the karma vipaka thing. It is not, that means that is vipaka, not abhisankara. But the abhisankara is getting attached to the good thing and rejecting the bad thing without being able to see the causes and effects, how this works. So that is it. So for the rose, we don't know. For individual arihats, it might be different because everybody doesn't like rose. Some people doesn't like, even in normal context. Some people doesn't like rose. Some people just like rose. So some can feel rose as pleasant, some cannot. So but for things like rotten food and good food, maybe because it is associated with the body, and body is common. Body has human body has common characteristics for humans, not like for pigs. Maybe pigs like the rotten one, maybe the bacteria or other organisms, they might like the rotten food, but humans has the same characteristics. Since they have the same type of bodies, they might not like the rotten one, as the bodily deficiency is for the fresh food, not for the rotten food. But the bodily deficiency of a pig or a dog or another animal who likes rotten food, because the animal is having the bodily deficiency for that. Of course, the body was created out of avijja as well. So the mind also tends to like that object because the deficiency is there in the body. So that can change. That is how we should understand. So might not be the 100% correct answer to this, but the method which we have to follow is true, and we can do that, and we can understand what they feel for our own by completing the pathway. If we bring something that is not beautiful, I think we have discussed that. So hope I have completed the answer to the question that you have posted. If you have any following questions regarding this, please feel free to put that into the chat, or you can. The video got disconnected. Okay, now I saw that. It's okay, since I hope everybody heard what I said. And if can you hear me? I think hearing might not be an issue here. Okay, since you heard, then there's no problem. I'll log in because I am using another device, and the app is getting trouble with maintaining its recording. Okay, I'm back. The video is also back. So that is the answer for the first question. And then for the second, and I'll go for the second one. So they are not here, but they can listen to the recording and ask questions later if they have any. So the question is, please explain about the 6 qualities of harmony taught in Kosambia Sutta. So I'll go into the sutta, and so this was preached in an instance where they were fighting between the monks. So there were some fights, some some disagreements between the monks, and they started telling things at each other using harsh words. I don't know whether the body or physical and or the body was involved or fighting was involved. As it is said, there was no fighting. It's just fighting with words. So this was taken into the Supreme Buddha, and Supreme Buddha was informed about this incident, and he asked all the monks in this temple, which is Kosambia area, to gather for this sermon. And they come, and the Supreme Buddha asks about the thing, and asks whether they were spreading metta to the other people while having this. And they said, no, we were not having any thoughts of metta for the opposite party. So he actually blames the individuals, the monks, and preaches these 6 components or 6 things that one should develop to have harmony between this society of monks, maybe the society of Buddhist fellows or devotees. So for everyone, this helps everyone. So the first one is Ida bhikkave bhikkhuno mettang kaya kammang paccupattitan hoti sabrahmacharisu achicevara hocha ayampi dhammo saranyo piya karuno garu karuno sanghaya avivadaya samagya ekibhavaya sangvattati. So that means this is for kaya kamma, and there's the same thing for vachi kamma, and the same thing for mano kamma. That completes 3 of the things that we should follow to have harmony and to have the unity among the fellow devotees, maybe fellow monks, whatever the company is, whatever the the group is, to have this harmony and unity in the group, we can follow this. So have kaya kamma, vachi kamma. So kaya kamma of metta, vachi kamma of metta, and mano kamma of metta needs to be. We need to have those, because we have done our interactions with other people. So we have parents, maybe spouses, children, who are very near to us, and that doesn't happen as a coincidence. So since we have sansaric bonds with them, they come very nearer to us to settle these sansaric bonds. The good, we have sometimes we have good bonds with some people and bad ones with some people. So whichever it is, whether it's good, whether it's bad, they have to come very nearer to us to settle these things, the good ones as well as the bad ones. So when we know this, when we can, and we can spread metta regardless of whoever in the universe. With kaya kamma, of course, it is not just metta with meditation, but metta with words, metta with actions should be exercised. Otherwise, the metta is not fully practiced. Metta that is practiced with mano kamma or meditation is just only a fraction of metta, and that is also very powerful and helps us to develop the metta vachi kamma and metta kaya kamma as well. So I am not saying that it is not enough, but to make it more complete, we have to add metta vachi kamma or metta words and metta actions. So helping each other and helping each other if we change the context to nibbana, helping each other, helping other people to attain nibbana with kaya kamma, with mano kamma, with vachi kamma. So everything counts as metta 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 actions. So that is for Nibbana. But in general context, metta is hoping the other person's um, good outcomes, good experiences, generally hoping the other person good. So that is also can be practiced, giving having when the other person is in difficult situations, helping that person, of course, making his that person's um, life better would help him to have a better or a calm mindset, which would help him to complete his Arya pathway as well. So as monks who are who should be in harmony, of course, because there's nobody else for the monks, no parents, no, who are interacting with them, no spouses, no children. They have isolated themselves from the external world, and now in this company, or now are in this group of fellow monks, and the fellow monks should help each other because each other's parents are themselves, is each other's children, each other's spouses, all the role that is done by the external, that is happening in the lay life from the external parties who are around the lay person, is now should be done by the ones who are around, or in that group of fellow monks. So this is why metta, kaya kamma, vachi kamma, mano kamma are very important. When somebody is sick, so maybe in our houses, mother is the one who goes and looks after the child until the child becomes well. But there's no mother here with the monks, so monks should help each other in a situation like that. So that is metta kaya kamma. So maybe the words of security, or maybe words of help when the other person is struggling with defilements. Maybe the other monk is trying to disrobe himself from being a monk, so the other monk should help him with metta vachikam, or words of metta. So this is how we should, this is why it says these are three factors that make one, um, or make a group have harmony and unity. So we can use these tactics to our own life, our own Dhamma discussing groups, and our own groups as, or since we are going for a common cause, which is Nibbana, so everybody is having the same view. So it is discussed in the later, uh, 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 the latter part of the this discussion as well. So the first three, of course, discusses about metta, because that is very important. So the other thing is, since we are having good connections with individuals who are near us, whether it's a monk who are having fellow monks around him, or whether it's a lay person who is having parents, these spouses, children, and other neighbors and relations around him. So regardless of who are around, we have created negative as well as positive bonds with them. So to get out of that negative aspect of the bonds, we can spread metta to everyone. We can heal these wounds, the mental wounds we have with some individuals through the interactions by spreading metta. Of course, kaya kama, vachi kama, and mano kama, helping him, talking to him, or spreading metta through thoughts would help us to heal these problems, to break away the negative bonds we have towards them, and have a positive experience, a very unified, and a very harmonious experience as individuals. So that is why the first three are very important. Then the other one. So if you know about Gana Sanganika dosa, so this is kind of a defilement, because because this is happening because of favorations. So we favor somebody to the other one because maybe he is pleasant, because maybe because of past life experiences, because of past bonds in the sansaric journey, and maybe because of he's the one who, because of him we get benefits, uh, like the other person praises us a lot, so we like that person. So other person gives us a lot of stuff or materialistic things, so we like that person than the other one. So having these types of sanganika dosa, or in other words, it is a defilement, having attached or preferring somebody over the group. So when we are, I think it got disconnected again. We'll go on with the discussion. I'll try to log in. So when we are having this type of dosa or defilements where we favor one person, we tend to have favorations. So that is exactly what is mentioned in the the next one. So it says, Punacha parambikwe bikuye te labha dhammika dhammaladda anama antamaso patta pariyapanna mattampi tatarupehi labehi appati vibatta bhogi bhoti sidavantehi sabrahmacharihi sadharana bhogi. So it says, when you get something like, in this context, since it was preached to monks, it is about, the after pindapata you get something, or an extra robe, or something like something that is very important for a monk was, if you receive something, and if you have favorations, and if you give one or two people more than the others, then the harmony should break, because harmony can break, because unity can break, because we have, it is like we are, the other person is not treating everybody in the same manner, because it should not be like that, because it is coming because of a defilement, that we favor one person, because we know if we favor one person, that is because we are getting something from that person other than the other people. So we are already get attached. We are already deceived by the external world, external things that is being received by us. So again, a defilement should be eliminated in that way as well, and it harms the harmony and the unity of the group as well. So we have the same, we use the same spoon to distribute food for the group. Let's say it is actually comparison. So if we use different spoon, big spoon for one person and a small spoon for another person, then that creates a division among the group. So that is happening because of Gana Sanganika dosa. So we have to get out of this Gana Sanganika.
Venerable Tamadashitero, can you hear me?
I got disconnected again. This time, both the devices got disconnected. Anyway, so that is the thing. So we have to be aware that if we are having any favorations for one person, and no, and we treat people in a different way when it comes to a group of people, especially this sermon was done to monks, so it was based, or it was directed to the harmony and unity of monks. So we can use some of the good things into our lives as well. So that is the other one. So no, so when we divide and distribute our good or things that we received, maybe through Pindapata, we are not doing any preparations. We see the quality of Sangha and we distribute. So everybody is included in the quality of Sangha. We don't see them as individual persons, but we see the quality. And since each and every person is a representation of quality, of that quality, we saw without trying to get deceived by the individuality of the person, or the getting deceived by the or getting trapped in the favoration part, we just distribute it thinking about the quality. So that is one. And the other one is Punachaparam Bhikkhve Bhikkhu Yani Tani Silani Akandani Ajidrani Asabalani Akalmasani Bujisani Vinya Vinyapasattani Aparamattani Mattani Samadhi Sangvattinakani Tata Rupesu Silesu Sila Samanyagato Viharati Sabrahmacharihi Achi Cheva Rahocha. That means, so this sasana, or let's say these 6 components should be exercised in a place where the Dhamma is there. So a group of Dhamma friends, or again a group of monks. Ultimate goal is Nibbana. So to attain Nibbana, we should have the Sila. Without Sila, or the disciplining part of actions and words, especially these two, we cannot achieve our final target. So everybody is working for the same target, then there's no problems to the peace, problems to the harmony, problems to the unity. But if somebody is not exercising what the group is doing, or doing something else other than the whole group's main focus, then that can create problems in harmony, problems in unity, and problems in peace, problems in peace of the society that we are talking about. So that is what this explains. So if it is with the even in among the presence of other individuals, and even outside the presence of other individuals, we should not change that sila or the discipline we have, because if we are just acting our sila disciplining only among the group of friends who are practicing Dhamma, and when we are outside that circle, we are exercising something else, we are doing something else, and our sila or our disciplining is not there, that can lead to problems. Because if the other people understand, if the other people see this, they would not see us or you as one of themselves. That itself is the starting point to break the harmony, break the unity, break the peace of the society that we talk about. So it is very crucial and essential to have this, see the same discipline in every place, even among the presence, and even when everyone is not around. So in both places, we are not acting two lives. We are being genuine to ourselves and to the group. So we are keeping the harmony of the group by practicing the same sila or the discipline. Discipline is actually the part of the pathway. That means Arya Atangika Magga. So the next one is about the vision. So if the vision changes, everything changes. And the Supreme Buddha, in the later paragraph of the sutta, it says that the final one is the most important one. Without the final one, we cannot talk about any all the other 5 as well, because the final one is actually the master key. or the most important part of this of these six components. What is that? Punacha parambhikkhave bhikkhu yayang diti arya niyanika niyati takkarasa samma dukkakkaya tata rupaya dittiya ditti samanyagato viharati sabrahmacharihi achicheva rahocha. That means this vision, our vision is to dukkakkaya, or in other words, to eliminate suffering. So everybody's mission should be to eliminate suffering, and everybody's should have that samma ditti, or the correct view of Dhamma to do that. If the other people are having, or the someone in the group is having some different view about dukkha, about elimination of dukkha, then that itself breaks the harmony of the society. Let's say the other one person is telling the method of, or the sammaditthi as something, or the correct sammaditthi among the group, among the friends, but when he's outside he's saying something else. So that itself can break the harmony. So we, even among the friends, as well as when the friends are not present, we should have that same samadhi, the viewpoint. We should not change the viewpoint. So anyway, the viewpoint would not change for a person who has already understood Dhamma. So that is why this has become the most important thing. So if somebody has not understood Dhamma and is in the group, sometimes it can break the harmony of the group and the peace of the group and the unity of the group. And because the other person is not in line with the vision and the mission of the group, because the vision and the mission of the group is to attain Nibbana, and this person is exercising something else other than that. So it would harm the core concept of the group, thus creating um, chaos. So that is why that type of a person would not be able to practice sila properly. So the next one is also affected. That person has no correct base or the foundation to practice metta. So that part is also affected. So all the other five elements are also affected when the final one is not there. So when that is what we have to understand. This is what we should understand individually. It is not about preaching somebody to act in this way so the harmony of the group is maintained. This is what we should understand individually, and we should correct our individual faults, and we should, especially maybe the final two is already okay with everybody, but especially the metta part, and not having any favorations. This is the most important one, as I believe, because most of the ones can have this sanganika dosa, the dosa or the defilement of favoring somebody over the others, and having having a different levels of friends within the group. So that can be there, because if, let's say, when we are in the society, we favor somebody who is more virtuous, more someone who is helpful as a friend, noble friend, or kalyana mitra. So we like that person, but we should not have this favoration part, because it is not good to depend on a person. Other than we should not depend on a individual, but we should depend on Dhamma that is coming from the individual, not on the individual, but from the Dhamma. We should depend on the Dhamma. So since Dhamma is not an individual, we that Gana Sanganika dosa would not occur. So for external people also, it applies when we are doing things with the external people. Favoration, in other words, means attachment. Attachment, in other words, means the recipe for suffering. So at the end, we can end up suffering because of these types of things. So that is the six components that are discussed in the Kosambhya Sutta. I hope everybody understood the things we discussed so far. And the final question was about it was about Satta Bojjhanga. So the practicing of Satta Bojjhanga. So the practice of Satta Bojjhanga we have discussed. I think we have done discussion before, a whole day discussion on the mechanism of Satta Bojjhanga. So I'll go for the practical aspect of Satta Bojjhanga, how to practice Satta Bojjhanga. So Satta Bojjhanga is a very big area because this is also practicing Satta Bojjhanga. All 7 Bojjhangas are developed when discussing Dhamma, when listening to Dhamma, when preaching Dhamma. Because Dhamma Vijay is already there, Virya Sambojjhanga is already there, and Preeti happens because we are understanding Dhamma, seeing through the illusion of the world, illusion of avijja, and seeing through the deception which is created by these worldly things. So we become happy and delighted, and that creates Preeti Sambojjhanga. And this creates a mental relaxation, that is Passaddhi, and leading to bodily relaxation as well, that is Kaya Passaddhi and Mano Passaddhi. So Passaddhi Sambojjhanga is also acting, or it is also active in this Dhamma discussion. And this creates a Samadhi and a level of Upekka, because the attachment is seen as the problem, and the attachment would be eliminated, leading to Upekka nature. And Dhamma Samadhi is also developed while we are discussing this Dhamma. So Dhamma discussion is also a way to develop Satta Bojjhanga. But this question was specifically asked about meditation. So when it comes to meditation, Satta Bojjhanga, all 7, cannot be practiced at the same time. We have discussed this. So we have to practice in groups of 3. First it is Dhammavijaya, Virya, Preeti, and the next set is Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekka. And we should have Sati Sambojjhanga at all times. Sati is being mindful of what we are doing inside the meditation. So we get the Kammatthana. So since we have been doing meditation for quite some time right now, it is good to refresh our understanding about Satta Bojjhanga, the practical nature of it. So we are focusing on Satta Bojjhanga, we are focusing on the Kammatthana. Let's say we are now contemplating on Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, and that is the Dhamma Vijaya part of it. Now, Dhamma Vijaya, why do we need Samadhi? First of all, we have to understand the need of Samadhi is to complete the Panya. So we have to be very, very careful when we practice Samadhi. We have to understand the ultimate goal of Samadhi is to complete our Panya and nothing else. Otherwise, some time after practicing Samadhi, we forget this main cause or main aim of us, and we tend to think that Samadhi is the ultimate goal and try to pursue or try to go after the Samadhi. But we have to always remind ourselves, no, Samadhi is not the end result. Panya is the end result. So Samadhi is just the helping environment that would develop Panya. Samadhi would lead to Yatabhuta Jnana Dasana, would lead to Viraga, Nirodha, and Vimukti Jnana Dasana. So Samadhi helps. We should not reject Samadhi. It is needed and essential in the pathway. It's Sila Samadhi Panya is one of the 3 main pillars that we need to complete this journey. So We should not fear samadhi. Samadhi is needed, but should not forget the end goal as well. It is to develop panya. So that is why we have to focus on, initially we have to focus on Dhamma Vijaya or the Kammattan, the meaning of Anicca Dukkha Anatta, what is the problem with the world? Why is it not suitable to continue this sansaric journey? So this is being taught and contemplated in a very meticulous way. So when we do that, then we need to have virya, effort. Without effort, we cannot think like this. We can think deeply. So we are thinking deeply, contemplating on every side, and watching uh, through the watching through the glasses of anicca dukkha anatta towards the world. So we are watching at the world with that view. So that needs effort. Virya Sambhojjhanga. And when we see the reality, we become happy, leading to Piti Sambhojjhanga. Now, Piti Sambhojjhanga, Dhamma Vicaya Sambhojjhanga, Virya Sambhojjhanga, they work together. But we have to know now we have to be mindful as well at the same time of what we are doing. So we know that we are practicing these three Bhojjhangas. We have to know the correct time to change. So what are we changing into? We are changing into Pasadi Sambhojjhanga, Samadhi Sambhojjhanga, and Upekka Sambhojjhanga. What is the nature of these three? The Pasadi is the we can say the lightness or the calmness, and the heaviness is already gone. Heaviness of the mind as well as the body. Because when the non-attaching mindset comes, it 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 clears the bonds, clears the attachments, making it very light and very non-agitated. So that is pasadi. So the thing is, when the other one is pasadi, after pasadi, it is samadhi. So our mind starts to develop this level of samadhi, the 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 wandering and the dis, dispersing nature of the mind, the wandering nature of the mind starts to reduce, and we tend to have this calmness and a uniform nature in the thinking pattern. So the thinking pattern doesn't go here and there haphazardly, but is having a very uniform way of, or a very smooth, it becomes streamlined or smooth. It is called samadhi, which leads to, because it was already, we were thinking on Dhamma, we were contemplating on Dhamma thoughts, Dhamma points, and the end message of the Dhamma points are to get detached from the worldly things. That also comes as a component, and that is Upekka Sambhojjhanga. So the attachment is gone. The world is seen as a place that we should not continue um, enjoying or continue pursuing pleasure in a worldly way, of course. So that wrong idea of going after the world, looking for external pleasures would be gone. So the Upekka Sambhojjhanga comes. So when these three comes, it is like, that when a plane is on the air, it started from the airport, and it got into the air, and when in the air, let's say the plane can maintain its altitude just by using without using the engines. I think the story of maybe a hawk would be better. So a hawk flies from the ground to a certain altitude, and then it stops flapping its wings and stay um, in a, in a, in a, in the same posture, gliding through the wind in the same altitude. So just like that, the flapping part needs effort. Just like in the first three Bojjhangas, we need to go up, and that going up is like developing Passaddhi. So we feel the Passaddhi when we try to focus on the first Bojjhangas. We get the Kammatthana, we analyze the Kammatthana. We need effort to do that, just like the hawk is trying to get out of the ground to a certain altitude. We need effort, we need the flapping of the wings, and when the animal is in a certain altitude, now he can rest or focus on the samadhi. But until that moment, it might take few good months to get that get to that altitude. So initially it was just the first three Bojjhangas. So at initial times, you don't even experience the last three Bojjhangas. It's the first three Bojjhangas. You focus on the first three Bojjhangas. You put effort because let's say it's a hawk. Now we are just a juvenile hawk, very young one, who is not very good at flying. Now when we want to learn flying, we only can go into certain altitudes, because we can't go very high up because we are not experienced that much. We are just starting to fly right now. So we practice, we go like maybe 10 meters, 20 meters, and then just come back to the ground. And then again, try 30, 40, 50. Maybe that is too far. Anyway, in the example, so let's say the 60 meters um, is a good altitude to just change the gear. So when we are able to hit that with the understanding, of course, with the contemplating and with everything, when the samadhi is developed and when we can hit that area, then we can change. We can feel the passaddhi. We can feel the mental, the nature of the passaddhi means the lightness or the reduction of heaviness of the body and the mind, and everything is felt and now feels like I can focus on this passaddhi and continue to have that samadhi without even attaching to that means upekha, and continue on having this for some time. So when that is achieved, the person now, or the in the example, the hawk starts circling around, gliding in the air in the same altitude for some time. But if he continues this for a longer time, then uh, then it should be, then he starts losing altitude back into the ground. So we have to be mindful. That's why the sati sampojjhanga should be there at all times. So we should be mindful whether we have to be very aware that whether we are losing altitude or we are, when we lose altitude, what happens is actually the mind starts shrinking, and we feel like the mind is not active anymore. We might feel sleepy, or we might feel like I could not remember anything, or something like stopping the meditation. Now it's enough kind of thing. So then we should know these are the signs of losing altitude, and now I have to change back to the flapping of wings, or again to the discussion that happens inside us about with Dhamma. So then we change the gear to Dhamma Vijaya Virya Preeti, and we are flapping and we are gaining altitude again. And when that is done, we would be able to catch the relevant altitude, or the needed altitude level, or the level that we should achieve to maintain the gliding. So when we reach that again, we can change. But what if we did not enter that last three Bojjhangas without entering the last three Bojjhangas? What if we put effort and effort and effort, and then what happens? We can use the same example. What if a hawk, without stopping, started gaining altitude? There comes the air gets thinner, and there comes, and maybe the air becomes the wind becomes more intense as well. He would not be able to fly. He would either die or would lose altitude and would not be able to continue on gaining altitude after some time. So we have to know that there's this optimum level of altitude. Just like that, we have to know when to change from the first three to the next three. The first three is Dhamma Virya Priti. When we try to focus on the Kammatthana for so long, we since effort is something we have to use very sparingly. When we put more effort than needed, we become tired. Our mind become tired. If you can remember, when you in the school days when we were solving math problems, let's say we have solved like 100 math problems. Now we cannot solve the 101st problem because our mind is in a fatigueness. We don't feel, even if it is a very easy question, it's like our mind is not working anymore. So we take a break and come back maybe after 1 hour. Now it's fresh, and now we can solve the rest of the problems now. It happens when we are stuck in a math problem as well. We are stuck in the middle of a math problem, and we try and try and try. We cannot solve it, and the head is also starting to ache, and we stop the thing, and we come back tomorrow and try to solve. It is solved in an instant. These types of things happen. So the same applies for Dhamma Vijaya. When we start doing Dhamma Vijaya, we have to put effort. We have to, of course, it creates preeti, but the preeti is lost because the effort is so much. It becomes a fatigue experience, or the experience become negative, and the preeti goes away. And now it is like mind is going here and there haphazardly. Now we are not focusing on the Dhamma, but it is going out of the place to all the other things as well. The mind, we have lost the mindfulness as well. So we have to know now it is time to focus on the Samadhi. Now I have gone uh, higher up than needed. I have to I have to go back to my uh, the optimum altitude level as a hawk. In the example of a hawk, I have to gain the correct altitude and change the gear. So this changing gears, um, changing bojjangas would need experience. So in the initial days, we would even not know what is like uh, overdoing. So we would not know what is the experience of overdoing the first three bojjangas or the last three bojjangas. But when we understand now this is what we experience when we overdo the first three, when we overdo the next or the last three. So when we are able to understand the nature of overdose of first three bojjhangas and the last three bojjhangas, we would be able to recognize the features of overdose initially from the initial stages, and then you'll be able to shift from the first one to the next one easily. So it takes time, it takes practice, but all of this is to develop samadhi, not to develop not because our prime goal is to develop samadhi, but to develop panya. So since this is the environment or the perfect ground that helps us to develop panya. So that developed samadhi level would help us to develop more panya, more contemplation. Contemplation would be easy. The then analyzing part would be easy. We would be able to recognize more defilements. The finer ones would be understood easily. So likewise, it would help in the understanding, and in the progress of the Arya pathway. So that is why we need samadhi, and that is why we some of the individuals. It depends, of course, it depends on the Indriya Nanatta, or the level of Indriya differentiations of Indriya Sati, Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya of each individual. So some might need this, some might have a different approach than this. It's fine. So if somebody is using this, you can use the correct pathway, and to get the correct pathway, use this as a guidance, but you would need your own experience to understand uh, what this is like, or what the, for example, what the experience of developing the first three bojjhangas are like, what the experience of developing the last three bojjhangas are like, what is the experience of overdoing the first three or the last three bojjhangas are like. So this needs time and practice. So that is what I wanted to tell you about Satta Bojjhangas. So the I think we have discussed all the three questions that were posted in the group. If anybody is having any questions regarding today's discussion, or any Dhamma problem you have, maybe weren't you did not post in the group before, then we can have that discussion, because since we are having few minutes, maybe like 10 minutes. Otherwise, we can go on with the Anumodana and end today's session. I'll wait like 1 minute, and then we'll move on with the Anumodana. Oh, there's a question. Wait, I'll read the question. I missed the question earlier. I want to double check. So what you are saying is that we should see the people of the world as mechanisms. In what question? You mean when we are in the area where we talk about favorations? Is that the area? Yeah, in the question two, maybe in the area where we talk about favorations. No, I am telling that when we are since this preaching of Kosambia Sutta was preached to monks. The Kosambia Sutta was, since it was preached to monks, the so when we in the third one or fourth component, or the fourth point, the Supreme Buddha has highlighted, which is to have the same when we are offering something which we have got even from Pindapata to the monks, don't have favorations to and give more to some people and less to some people. So what we can do in that type of instance is, we can see that all of these individuals or all the monks are practicing the same Arya Magga and trying to achieve the same course. That's why they have attained. That is why they are, when they are getting the robe, they say Nibbana Satchikaranatthaya. To achieve or to attain Nibbana, I want to receive this monkhood so that I can attain Nibbana. So everyone is having that same course. So we can see them for that. We can see the quality and see that everybody is equal when it comes to the quality of Sangha. So everyone is included in the quality of Sangha. And everyone, so then we can see the uniformity. Then we don't see the favorations. We see the we see the guna or qualities, and we are offering the dana or whatever we got from Pandapatha, seeing the qualities, not seeing the individuals. So that is what I wanted to tell. Is it clear? Okay. So since nobody has posted any other questions, we'll move on with the Anumodana. So today, everyone gathered here and all of us discussed about the Sattapojjhanga and of course how to live in harmony in a group, and also about the nature or the magga we have to follow to attain arihathood, and the differences, maybe a little bit of differences between arihats and the lay individuals. And through all of this, our final aim of our final um, ultimate goal is to attain nibbana. So we have been contemplating on anicca, dukkha, anatta along the discussion, and as said in Dakkhina Vibhanga Sutta, that creates immeasurable meritorious power, and that is not that is the most potent meritorious deed that one can do. So with the meritorious power that everyone have developed with kaya kamma, vachi kamma, and mano kamma throughout these 2 hours, may all the hindrances, barriers, and obstacles that everyone have to complete their Arya pathways may get diminished, creating the creating the perfect environment for everyone to complete their Arya journeys. And in that perfect environment, may everyone be able to complete the Arya Attangika Magga, ending the suffering sansaric cycle, attaining Nibbana. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we are going to transfer this meritorious power to all the sentient beings, including especially the ones um, who have, who has been our past relations, who are maybe in the nearest 7 generations, and also throughout the sansaric journey, and the ones who helped us throughout this suffering sansaric journey in various ways, like teachers, parents, ones who taught us what is right and what is wrong, and ones who were helping us in various ways, giving jobs, constructing our houses, roads, and the infrastructure and everything, and also the ones who helped us to have this Dhamma discussion, the ones who are behind the scene helping us to have these platforms ready, and the ones who are paying for the subscriptions and maintaining the temples, electricity, and devices and everything, and also the ones who were hurt and harmed by us. Since we did not know the correct and we did not have the correct understanding of the reality, we might have done various unwholesome things towards worldly beings without knowing the reality, going after worldly things. Now, since we know the reality, we understand our faults and we are changing our ways and correcting ourselves, and today we are going to transfer this meritorious power to them as well as a compensation to all the wrongdoings we have done, settling all the liabilities we have towards them, and also the deities and Brahma gods and all the sentient beings in the universe. Let's focus on all of them and transfer this meritorious power to them, regardless of wherever they are in this universe, irrespective of their current state of being. May they appreciate these pujas, get delighted after, appreciate these discussions, get delighted after seeing these discussions, and gather immeasurable amounts of merits with this transaction we are going to do. If they are in miserable places, may they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives ultimately understanding the reality of the world, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this with a sadhukara, transferring this great meritorious power to all the sentient beings in the universe.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
So I'll be reciting this Pali stanza, blessing everyone. Life, comfort, power, refreshness, and finally Nibbana. අභිවාදන සීලිස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්ධාපචායනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩන්ති ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුරාෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti මිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, Teruvan Saranai everyone. I hope the recording is okay. And then Mrs. Kim, can you maybe send it to the send it to Mr. Tushan, or you can maybe upload it to the Google Drive if you have access.
Okay.
Okay. Teruvan Saranai everyone.
Teruvan saranai.
Sarvan Saranai.
Everyone,